An estimated $84 trillion is set to change hands over the next 2 decades, creating the largest wealth transfer in history. Yet billionaires like Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Yvon Chouinard, and Chuck Feeney chose not to leave their fortunes to their children. Here's why they made that decision and how their families reacted. Warren Buffett is staring down one of the most radical inheritance decisions in American history, and he's been completely open about it for decades. The so-called Oracle of Omaha is one of the billionaires behind the Giving Pledge and has stated that he'll give away 99% of his wealth. To date, he's given away more than $60 billion. And his 3 children, despite his immense wealth, Buffett's children will not inherit a significant portion for personal use. Now here's the quote that set the internet on fire. For Buffett, leaving his kids a lifetime supply of food stamps just because they came out of the right womb was not only wasteful but harmful, an antisocial act. That's Warren Buffett, the second richest person on the planet at various points in his life, comparing a massive trust fund to welfare. Wrap your head around that for a second. He pointed out the contradiction he saw all around him. Around country clubs, you hear people talking about the debilitating aspects of a welfare cycle, he said. These same people are leaving their kids with a lifetime supply of food stamps and beyond. Then came the kicker: instead of a welfare officer, they have a trust fund officer. So where did this philosophy come from? It goes all the way back to 1986. In a Fortune magazine interview that year, Buffett laid out his thinking with striking clarity. The perfect amount to leave your children is enough money so that they would feel they could do anything, but not so much that they could do nothing. That one sentence, uttered almost 40 years ago, became the philosophy that shaped the inheritance decisions of some of the most powerful people in the world. Bill Gates has said it was that exact article that changed his mind, but more on him in a moment. Buffett didn't just say these things and walk away. He built an entire structure around his beliefs. While Buffett had no interest in giving his children a traditional inheritance, he pledged in 2006 to donate all his Berkshire Hathaway shares to charity. Then he went a step further. In 2024, he revealed plans to transfer his fortune to a charitable trust upon his death, to be overseen by his children, who must unanimously decide where to donate the funds within 10 years. Read that again. His children don't get the money. They manage giving it away. That's the role he carved out for them. They're not heirs, they're stewards. So who are these 3 people and how did they take the news? Buffett's 3 children, Howard, Peter, and Susan, may not be receiving a traditional inheritance, but they are not excluded from his estate plans. Each has been entrusted with managing substantial charitable foundations of their own, where part of Buffett's fortune will be directed, continuing his legacy of giving. Howard is the eldest. He's poised to become the non-executive chairman of Berkshire Hathaway after his father's passing, a role emphasizing oversight rather than daily operations. And Howard isn't bitter about it, not even close. In a 2006 interview with the New York Times, Howard shared his perspective plainly. It was always clear we were not going to get a lot of money. Then there's Peter. Peter famously used his $90,000 inheritance at just 19 to launch a music career, and now leads the Novo Foundation. He got his one gift early, a block of Berkshire Hathaway stock, and he spent it chasing his dream. That was the plan. He received his stock when he was 19 as the only personal inheritance he received, and he spent it on recording equipment. That story alone says everything about what Warren was going for. Susan Buffett leads the Sherwood Foundation, which channels resources toward early childhood education and social justice initiatives. She's also involved with the Susan Thompson Buffett Foundation, named after her late mother, which has donated billions to reproductive health causes. The 3 of them don't sit around resenting their father. According to reports, Buffett's children will have a decade after his passing to fulfill his wishes by donating his wealth to charitable causes. A task they acknowledge will be challenging but meaningful. Through their respective foundations, they've already collectively given away over $15 billion since the mid-2000s. Howard summed up the siblings' attitude simply: "I can tell you we'll sit down in a room when the time comes, and we'll get it figured out pretty quickly." Now, was it truly zero? Not quite. In 2006, Buffett gifted his children $17.5 million each. in Class B Berkshire Hathaway shares to run their organizations, and he pledged to his children Berkshire Hathaway stock, valued at about $2.5 billion, to be paid out to each of their foundations, not to them personally. So the money is there. It's just not theirs. It's humanity's. That's the Buffett doctrine in a single sentence. And what he started, others ran with, none more publicly than the man he directly inspired. Bill Gates has 3 children, Jennifer, Rory, and Phoebe. With a net worth of over $130 billion, people would assume that his children would inherit a substantial portion, securing their spots among the world's elite. But Gates had other plans. Gates announced in a 2011 interview with the Daily Mail that his 3 children would only inherit a minuscule portion of his fortune, a mere $10 million each, he specified. This decision wasn't a spur-of-the-moment whim, but a conscious choice rooted in his belief in the importance of hard work and purpose. Now, $10 million sounds like a lot to you and me, but on the scale of what Bill Gates is worth, it's barely a rounding error. The 3 children will each inherit less than 1% of their parents' $130.5 billion fortune, less than 1% each, from one of the richest families in human history. And the ripple effect of that decision, enormous. Gates' position became a talking point in a 2013 Reddit AMA session, where a user commented that many wealthy people point to Bill Gates as their idol, not for his Microsoft days, but for his philanthropy. The user added that Gates' decision had simultaneously killed many of my friends' $100 million trust funds after their parents discovered that Bill was only leaving $10 million for his children. That's the Gates effect. His announcement didn't just affect his own kids. It changed how an entire class of ultra-wealthy parents thought about inheritance. That's a level of cultural influence that goes way beyond tech or software. So where did Gates develop these ideas? He's been pretty transparent about it. In the same Reddit session, Gates said, "I definitely think leaving kids massive amounts of money is not a favor to them." He credited Buffett's 1986 Fortune article directly. It made me think about it and decide he was right. So Buffett planted the seed in 1986. Gates picked it up, ran with it, and then together the two of them formalized it into a movement. Along with fellow billionaire Warren Buffett, the Gateses helped create the Giving Pledge in 2010, which encourages more of the super-rich to leave the majority of their wealth to philanthropic causes. To date, the Gates Foundation has donated more than $100 billion to causes. That's more than $100 billion routed away from private family wealth and into the world. The children of Bill and Melinda Gates will be comfortable. They'll be fine, but they will not be inheriting a dynasty. Gates has always been direct about the reasoning. Children who inherit large amounts of money and don't work for it likely won't do well in the future. In a TED Talk, he said he wants to strike a balance where they have the freedom to do anything, but not a lot of money showered on them so they could go out and do nothing. There was a moment, though, when this ironclad decision hit a fork in the road. When Bill and Melinda Gates announced their divorce in 2021, legal observers noticed something interesting in Melinda's filing. Divorce experts pointed to a clue in Melinda's filing, suggesting she may have been angling to change her 3 children's inheritance. She took the unusual step of naming top trust and estate lawyers as her representatives alongside customary matrimonial attorneys. One attorney noted, Bill Gates proudly announced to the world he was leaving $10 million to each of his 3 children. Now that Melinda has control, maybe she wanted to leave more to her children than $10 million each. Maybe she didn't agree. Whether the inheritance figure shifted after the divorce has never been confirmed publicly. But the very fact that it became a point of negotiation tells you everything about what was at stake. When you're splitting up assets worth over $100 billion, even the relatively modest question of what the kids get becomes a legal battleground. What's not debatable is the direction Gates set. He wanted his children to build their own paths. And that philosophy, which started with a single article Buffett wrote in 1986, has now reshaped how the entire billionaire class thinks about what to leave behind. If Buffett's decision was radical and Gates was calculated, Yvon Chouinard's was something else entirely. It was a full-on rejection of wealth itself, and it came with a company worth $3 billion attached. A half-century after founding outdoor apparel maker Patagonia, Chouinard, the eccentric rock climber who became a reluctant billionaire with his unconventional spin on capitalism, gave the company away. Not sold, not transferred to a trust that his family controls. Gave away entirely. He, his wife, and 2 adult children transferred their ownership of Patagonia, valued at about $3 billion, to a specially designed trust and a nonprofit organization created to preserve the company's independence and ensure that all of its profits, some $100 million a year, are used to combat climate change and protect undeveloped land around the globe. And his kids, Fletcher and Claire, they were involved in the decision. They helped make it. Chouinard's children were involved in the decision, but chose not to inherit the company. Prioritizing its mission, it was important to them that they were not seen as the financial beneficiaries. Patagonia CEO Ryan Gellert told the New York Times, "To understand why this happened, you have to understand who Yvon Chouinard actually is. Because this man is unlike any other figure on this list." In 2017, Forbes placed Chouinard on its annual Billionaires list for the first time. For most businessmen, inclusion in that ranking would have been a badge of honor. For Chouinard, it was a nightmare come true. "It really pissed me off," he said, upon learning of the ranking. That's the man we're dealing with. A man who had billions of dollars and was furious about it. As a pioneering rock climber in California's Yosemite Valley in the 1960s, Chouinard lived out of his car and ate damaged cans of cat food that he bought for 5 cents apiece. Even today, he wears raggedy old clothes, drives a beat-up Subaru, and splits his time between modest homes in Ventura and Jackson. Chouinard does not own a computer or a cell phone. This is a man with a company worth $3 billion who can't receive an email. Chouinard had always maintained a fraught relationship with financial success. He grew up as a vagabond climber, often sleeping in the dirt and surviving on $1 a day. As Patagonia grew, he had more money at his disposal but eschewed materialism. Even as he became wealthy, he continued living in a log cabin cluttered with secondhand furniture and gave much of his cash away to environmental activists. When Forbes put him on that billionaires list, it wasn't just irritating to him. It lit a fuse. In 2020, he turned to his inner circle and put forward an ultimatum. Either they figured out how to get him off the list, or he would do it himself. For several months, nothing happened. Then, in early 2021, Chouinard summoned Patagonia CEO Ryan Gellert to his home and threatened to sell the company. The team scrambled. They couldn't just sell. That would betray everything the brand stood for. While Chouinard, his wife, and their 2 children owned all the shares in the company, they didn't want to keep that stock and didn't want anyone else to have it either. This made a conventional sale of the company all but impossible. So they got creative. They engineered a structure that had never been done before. Chouinard, his wife, and 2 children transferred their ownership of the $3 billion company to a nonprofit organization, the Holdfast Collective, and the specially created Patagonia Purpose Trust. The Holdfast Collective controls 98% of the company, all of Patagonia's non-voting stock, while the Patagonia Purpose Trust took over the other 2%, which makes up all of Patagonia's voting stock. The advisor who helped structure the deal was blunt. There was a meaningful cost to them doing it, but it was a cost they were willing to bear to ensure that this company stays true to their principles. And they didn't get a charitable deduction for it. No tax benefit. None whatsoever. Now, what about Fletcher and Claire, the children who gave up billions? A lack of interest in being a billionaire wasn't the only thing that Chouinard passed on to his kids. While Fletcher didn't inherit Patagonia, he's inherited his father's passion for being an outdoorsman. He loves to surf and kiteboard. Fletcher heads up a surfboard company backed by Patagonia. "We're not just owners or board members," he told The New Yorker. "We have normal salaries." Claire works in Patagonia's fashion side. Our current creative director, Claire Chouinard, really sets the tone for inspiring us. to wholeheartedly embrace our company's statement of purpose. We are in business to save our home planet. Patagonia design director Carrie Childs said, "These are people who could have been billionaires. They chose salaries instead, voluntarily." The estate planning advisor put it simply, it's irrevocably committed. They can't take it back out again, and they don't want to ever take it back out again. Chouard told the New York Times, "Hopefully this will influence a new form of capitalism that doesn't end up with a few rich people and a bunch of poor people." The man who started a company by selling pitons from the trunk of his car, who once ate 5-cent cat food, just handed the whole thing, every dollar, every share, to the earth. And his kids were fine with it. If Warren Buffett is the most famous person on this list, Chuck Feeney is the most extraordinary, because Buffett pledged to give away 99% of his wealth. Feeney actually did it, and barely anyone knew it was happening. Charles Francis Chuck Feeney was an Irish-American businessman and philanthropist who devoted his entire personal fortune to global philanthropy in his lifetime. He died in 2023 at the age of 92. And by the time he went, there was almost nothing left to leave his 5 children, because he had already given it all away. Forbes magazine called Feeney the James Bond of philanthropy, due to the stealthy and successful manner in which he anonymously donated approximately $8 billion to various charities. $8 billion. Anonymously. Most people have never heard of him. Here's how this happened. In 1984, Feeney secretly gave away nearly all his fortune by transferring the vast majority of his stake in duty-free shoppers, estimated at more than $500 million at the time, to create and establish the Atlantic Philanthropies, reducing his own wealth to less than $5 million. Let that sink in. He had built a business empire worth hundreds of millions, and he secretly, without telling his business partners, without any press releases, without any public acknowledgement, signed it all over to a foundation. Not even his business partners knew that he no longer owned any part of the company. For years, the donations just kept flowing, and nobody knew where they were coming from. For years, Atlantic gave away money in secret, requiring recipients to not even reveal the source of their donations. Universities were receiving tens of millions of dollars from a mystery donor. Hospitals were getting funded. Peace processes were being quietly supported. Feeney quietly devoted his fortune to worldwide causes for decades and invested nearly $1 billion in Cornell University alone through the foundation since 1982. Cornell's president at the time called him the university's third founder. The whole secret operation eventually unraveled in 1996, when he and a partner sold their stakes in the company to a French luxury group. Before a presumptive lawsuit could reveal that Feeney's stake was owned not by him, but by Atlantic Philanthropies, Feeney outed himself in a New York Times article. And that's when the world found out. The man had been a billionaire on paper for years, and had chosen to secretly give it all away instead of keeping any of it. Now, his children. He had 5 of them. He left his 5 children enough to survive and no more. He felt that leaving them vast amounts of money would only burden them. As one close friend explained, he really felt that inheriting vast amounts of money probably was more likely to assure them an unhappy life. Though his children won't be seeing a dime of their inheritance, their understanding of their father's goodwill. It is eccentric, but he sheltered us from people using the money to treat us differently, daughter Leslie Feeney Bailey told reporters. Sheltered them from the money. That's a phrase that sticks. The idea that massive wealth doesn't protect your children, it exposes them. And Feeney didn't just talk about giving while living. He lived it, literally. He was well known for his signature $15 watch, plastic bags as a briefcase, and his preference for flying economy. He did not own a car or a house. As of 2016, he lived in a rented apartment in San Francisco with remaining assets of $2 million. $2 million. That's what was left of a fortune that once topped $8 billion. He spent it all, gave it all. Every last cent routed into hospitals, universities, peace initiatives, and health programs across 5 continents. A recent Institute for Policy Studies report found that only 8 of the 22 deceased Giving Pledge signatories actually fulfilled the pledge, and only one, Feeney, gave his entire fortune away before he died. Bill Gates called him the ultimate example of giving while living. On September 14, 2020, Feeney closed down Atlantic Philanthropies after the nonprofit accomplished its mission of giving away all of its money. The foundation didn't collapse or run out of gas. It finished. It completed its purpose and shut down. That had basically never been done before at that scale. And the man behind all of it, the one who pulled it off without any fanfare, who ate cheap food and wore a $15 watch while routing billions around the globe, died in a rented apartment with almost nothing left. His children will not be receiving a fortune. They received something else instead. The knowledge that their father looked at billions of dollars and decided it was more important to give it to the world than to give it to them. And every single one of them has said in their own way that they understood. Warren Buffett, Yvon Chouinard, and Chuck Feeney didn't act in isolation. They were part of, and in some cases ignited, a wider shift in how the world's richest people think about what they owe their children. Along with Buffett, the Gates family helped create the Giving Pledge in 2010, which encourages more of the super-rich to leave the majority of their wealth to philanthropic causes. And once the pledge existed, others started lining up to sign it and to make their inheritance decisions very, very public. Mark Zuckerberg did it on the day his daughter was born. When Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg's first child, Max, was born in 2015, he and wife Priscilla Chan made a striking announcement. They don't plan to leave her their billions. Instead, the couple founded the Chan-Zuckerberg Initiative, an LLC dedicated to personalized learning, curing disease, connecting people, and building strong communities. In a letter to their newborn daughter, Zuckerberg and his wife pledged to give away 99% of their company shares, which topped $45 billion at the time. According to the letter, the couple's goal was to advance human potential and promote equality for all children in the next generation. Think about the optics of that timing. Your daughter is born. You hold her, and your first major public act is announcing that her inheritance is going to humanity instead. Zuckerberg has no intention of leaving his tech fortune to his daughters Maxima, August, and Aurelia. All 3 of them are on the outside of a fortune that at various points has topped $200 billion. Then there's Michael Bloomberg. Bloomberg, who has a fortune of over $100 billion, is on record as saying he does not plan to leave his wealth to his 2 daughters, Emma and Georgina. Instead, he has chosen to pass his company, Bloomberg LP, to a trust that will fund Bloomberg Philanthropies, his charitable foundation. In his Giving Pledge letter, Bloomberg wrote that the best thing you can do for your kids is to support organizations that will create a better world for them and their children. Bloomberg's 2 daughters, Georgina and Emma, both sit on the Bloomberg Philanthropies board and work with other philanthropic causes. So even in the cases where the children are cut out of the inheritance, they're often brought into the mission, not as heirs, as operators. And it's not just tech billionaires and investors. This movement spread far wider. Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx, was the first female billionaire to sign the Giving Pledge, where the super-rich promised to give away most or all of their wealth during their lifetimes. She told her son that she would be donating the majority of her wealth, last estimated at $1.3 billion by Forbes, to other people when he was just 3 years old. A toddler at the time, he didn't seem too fazed. He just said, "Okay, Mommy, can we do a puzzle now?" Then there's Pierre Omidyar, who built eBay from scratch. Today, worth over $8 billion, Omidyar is a member of the Giving Pledge and is committed to donating the majority of his fortune to charitable causes throughout his lifetime. And then there's the entertainment world, which produced its own wave of non-inheritors. British musician Sting. I certainly don't want to leave them trust funds that are albatrosses round their necks. Simon Cowell made his views known even before his son was born. The TV judge said he does not believe in transferring funds from generation to generation. It is about having a work ethic. I don't believe in inherited money at all, he told the Daily Mirror. I am not in favor of children suddenly finding a lot of money coming their way, because then they have no incentive to work. Andrew Lloyd Webber, the composer behind Phantom of the Opera and Cats, has 5 children from 2 marriages, but none of them will receive the lion's share of his estate. Webber plans to leave most of his money, estimated at $1.2 billion, to the theater community to help struggling artists instead. Jackie Chan made his position public at an awards ceremony, and it became global news. The film icon said he plans to leave at least half of his fortune to charity when he dies, and none of it is going to his only son, JC. If he is capable, he can make his own money, Chan said. If he is not, then he will just be wasting my money. JC was arrested for drug possession in Beijing in 2014, which was seen as embarrassing for his superstar father, who was acting as China's anti-drug goodwill ambassador at the time. The father-son relationship has reportedly been strained ever since, adding a very different layer to a story that, for every other name on this list, has been framed as pure philosophy. What's striking about all of these people, Buffett, Gates, Schwannard, Feeney, Zuckerberg, Bloomberg, Blakely, Sting, Cowell, Chan, is that the reasoning again and again comes down to the same core belief that money given without effort destroys the person who receives it, that a massive inheritance isn't a gift, it's a burden dressed up as a gift. The reasoning is rooted in a deep understanding of human nature and the potential pitfalls of unchecked wealth. The people on this list have seen firsthand how inheriting vast sums of money can erode ambition, stifle personal growth, and even tear families apart. The world is going through the largest wealth transfer in history right now. An estimated $84 trillion is expected to pass from one generation to the next over the coming decades. Most of that money will flow quietly, invisibly, into the bank accounts of children who did nothing to earn it. But a small, loud, deliberate group of the people at the very top have looked at that tide of money and chosen to send it somewhere else entirely. 3/4 of the Forbes 400 wealthiest Americans have donated less than 5% of their lifetime fortunes. So the people on this list aren't the norm, they're the exception. And their children, whether they know it or not, may have received something more durable than a wire transfer. They got parents who believed that what you do matters more than what you inherit. That's either the most radical thing a rich person can do, or the most obvious,